Welcome to this new episode of Cast It to Kane. I am Joshua Mickle, and for the first time on this episode, you will be hearing from my wife, the one and only Megan Mickle. How are you doing over there?
I'm doing okay. This is different.
Very different indeed. So, for those that are listening, she's a little bit shy. This is her first time doing it, so we're just going to wing it, and we're just going to cover a few topics today amidst this week of coming up with Ant-Man 3, and we had the aftermath of the spectacular Super Bowl this past Sunday, and we actually, going into the Super Bowl weekend, we actually saw For Brady, so we're going to do a review on that and then just talk about a few other things. So I'll start this off and say my review for For Brady. In case those that don't know, it's actually inspired by a true story by these four old ladies out there that are huge Tom Brady fans, and it's an inspired story, so it does get a little bit bonkers and a little bit weird in some points, but overall, I would say for this particular movie, it's a great take your wife out, take your husband out, and see this movie as like a good couples movie. Or go out with your mother or a family member. I think everyone can enjoy this movie. So, initial thoughts, Megan. What do you think about the movie?
So the movie was good to me. I would rate it like a 6 out of 10 or maybe a 7 out of 10. I can't. It's between like maybe 6.5 is where I'm going to go because I keep switching back and forth between a 6 and a 7. I went into this movie kind of blind. Like I knew who was in it. And I didn't really watch the full trailer because I'm not a trailer person. I despise trailers because I feel like it gives away the whole movie. And I'm always worried that the most funny parts are going to be in the trailer or not in the movie. Which, from what I saw from the trailers, the movie, like what I thought the movie was going to be like, was like a little bit completely different. And I like that. I really wanted to see this movie because I'm a big Jane Fonda fan. And I grew up on Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin and Sally Field. I just love them, their movies.
Which, by the way, quite the surprise to both of us. I did not know that there was going to be a sequel to your favorite movie, Book Club 2. So that was probably like your highlight of the day. It wasn't the movie itself. It was a trailer to another movie. With Book Club 2.
I think the trailers are actually like really good because I usually don't like trailers, and sometimes we come into the movie theater like midway trailers, so it just annoys me. And I was like, I think it's snowy in Oakland. It looks really, really good. I just love the cast that's in that movie as well that I grew up on. And then Book Club 2 just seems amazing because I really like the first one, but it is, again, it can be a little bit dirty, so we'll see how the second one is rated. I think it's PG-13.
I would think so.
But it just looks fun, and then that's why I was attracted to 80 for Brady, because I just like the older films kind of like vibes. The cast just always has that like happy vibe, but like, you know, sometimes there is like F-bombs in the movie. A lot in Jane Fonda movies, and especially going back to like we watched before I was like truly saved. We watched Grace and Frankie.
Grace and Frankie on Netflix,
and we really enjoyed that. It was a really good TV show, so that's the whole reason. Another reason why I wanted to see 80 for Brady. And it was a good experience, I think, watching it. It was clean for the most part. They nodded off at some like sexual things, but there was no like sex in the movie.
There's nothing inappropriate about outside of
one F-bomb from Tom Brady,
which you would expect from him. And again, like they're at this party scene, and some teenage girl or something, some lower age girl compared to these ladies, gives them alcohol gummies or spiked gummies,
gummies, I think, and that was
like the only thing.
Reason.
And there was a poker game involved.
So for me, that's the whole reason why it didn't hit like a 8 and up for me in ratings, is because I don't like that for movies to be good or have a fun time or be laughable is due to drugs. I just don't think that that's like necessarily needs to be in a movie, and especially the way that they were presented with the drugs, that they just took it and like didn't question until after they took it. And I just don't like that, because if you were to take like someone younger, middle school or teenagers, like I've heard that, like, people were taking their kids to this movie, that's fine. You're the parent. That's up to you. I don't care. But I'm just saying, as it's just teaching your kids to accept drugs and not question it. And I just don't like that. And plus, they didn't act crazy on the drugs in the movie. Not like that crazy.
One was hallucinating, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was different. I think it was Maura in the movie. She was the one that hallucinated. And so that was like, okay. It was a little bit cringy for me, again, because I just don't like those scenes of like being completely either drunk or on drugs. So that downgraded the movie a little bit, but overall, it wasn't as funny as what I thought it would be. Usually the movies have you laughing through the whole thing, and it's always like happy. And this one was like a little bit of heart pulling, I feel like, a little bit, because I don't know, are we going to give it away?
I mean, we can talk spoilers on this particular topic. I mean, on this movie. I would say the movie, I mean, again, it has its charms. I'm not going to lie about that. It has its charms. It has the charms of that, though, that maybe your mother, my mother might like, but I would just smile to myself like, this is not for me. This is so not for me. The only thing that stood out to me was, again, it was Maura that hallucinated.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that stood out to me was her character at the beginning of the movie when she accidentally took the sleeping pills and they broke her out, and
that part was funny.
Yeah, and then in the middle of the poker game where the one of the characters that's most responsible was holding Super Bowl tickets and she loses them.
Betty.
Yeah, Betty. And then they come to Maura. It's like, we lost the tickets. And she's like, I know. I got a hot hand. I'm going to buy I'm going to buy new tickets. I'm like, okay. And it's like, what charity is this poker game going to? I was like, oh. Oh, man. I mean, there were also some, the fanny pack joke. The fanny pack joke. It's like, where you got to store those tickets? Oh, on my strap on. It's like, and you got like a couple different characters in the movie just turning their backs and looking at them. It's like, you said what? It's like, it's no, it's a fanny pack. So I thought those moments were my laugh out loud moments. Everything else, like with the obvious, like where you know something's happening in the movie and it's not possible that's happening. I did like, I mean, for me as a sports fan, I actually did like that reference where this is Super Bowl 51 versus Tom Brady, Patriots versus Matt Ryan, the Falcons. And for those that know sports, there was actually a incident that took 2.5 years of investigations for officials to find a stolen Tom Brady jersey that he wore in the middle of that game. And so that was a cool nod reference to keep it a little bit more real, per se. When one of the characters was in front of him with his locker, he heard 80 for Brady, Tom Brady jersey, and he was going to give her his. And then he's like, I don't know where it's at. It's not in here. Where is it at? So that was a nice wink and nod to those hardcore sports fans to what actually happened. But everything else was, I mean, it's what you expect in this kind of movie. It's not gonna wire your socks. You just go there for like a good time. You just go there, a good time with your family, like your mother, or maybe drag your dad around if you want to. So
it's definitely a chick flick movie, and I think it's for a certain demographic.
I would say, yeah, this is a chick flick movie.
And I would say certain demographic. I don't think like people my age might not enjoy it as much unless you like really were raised on their movies and enjoyed
with these
them.
actresses, yeah.
Yeah, to know like how they are in each movie. Like it might be like boring to people who like a little bit more of like laughter and do like more of like the drinking and drug scene. 'Cause I don't think there was even that much drinking. Like usually a Jane
Hardly.
Fonda movie, like especially Grace and Frankie, like it was,
Hardly,
they would
yeah.
always have like margaritas, or that wasn't like this. And I think the whole reason it was like a little bit heart pulling is because Lou in the movie, spoiler alert, she fought cancer, and she's worried that it came back. And so there was like definitely like real friendship moments in this movie, which I really like, because, you know, Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin's like relationship from prior movies, and just like their relationship not even in movies is really tight, and it showed again in this movie, and I really, really liked that. And so I think it's a great movie. It was a good time. Was it always laughable? No. And again, it was like a little bit heart pulling in certain areas, because you know, like exactly if you have like a tight friendship and someone else is going through a hard time, like it was a little emotional there. But I would definitely say it's 100% a chick flick movie, maybe for an older demographic if you're not used to them in certain movies and shows. And I pretty much got out what I thought I would of the movie, that I did like it and it was a good time. And I was like texting my mom to go see the movie, because it's just a really good one. And like if someone came over and we didn't know what to watch, I could be like, well, this is like mostly clean, so we could watch this movie, which is hard to say with nowadays movies.
Yeah, for the most part. So you give this a 6 out of 10.
6.5.
Yeah. I used to rate movies. Now it's, again, like I harken back to what one of the people I'm subscribed to, John Campion, for his movie talk shows. He used to do ratings too, and then it just got to a point where it's like rating stuff on a scale. Like you describe a rating, but then you put it up against another film that you gave it that same rating, but you say something differently about it. So I think going forward, I just won't do ratings. So, but for this movie, I would say, yeah, I recommend watching it. Yeah, I definitely recommend watching it in theaters for sure. So it's definitely a good time to have with the family, with your aunt, whoever female side of your family you can drag along. So,
or if you had a dad or someone that grew up around, again, Jane Fonda movies, or movies with like the other actresses that are in there, it's just like another movie that you know what to expect in it. I was actually expecting to hear more F-bombs than were actually in it. So
if you heard more F-bombs, then it would have been our movie you've never seen in the first place.
I don't know. I guess I'm just used to like PG-13 ratings on Netflix, where it's like they push it past the boundary.
Yeah. All right. So with that out of the way, we're going to talk about next. And for those that have been listening since we started this podcast, I actually brought up about a few episodes ago with Aaron Austin about the local Malco movie theater. So what we're going to talk about is just like Megan's personal experience and what she thinks about the movie theater. So what did you think about your first time there? We went to the Collierville Malco Cinema Grill, I believe it's called, movie theater. So what was your time there?
I just want to go back and like give a little history here. I don't go to the movie theaters often. I rarely go, because most of the movies that come out, I don't agree with it is appropriate for myself to watch. I get a check in my spirit, and I really have to talk with God before I go to a movie. And we'll talk more about that later. But I haven't been to the movie theaters in about 2 years, right? When we went to see Spider-Man in New York.
Yeah, No Way Home.
So that was Regal. And I don't know what the exact correct name for the theater type we went to, but the seats
40X,
moved. Okay,
yeah,
40X. So that was like an amazing experience. Josh didn't like that, but it
was a unique experience. I didn't say I didn't like it.
It was so fun for me.
It's a great experience in it for your first time. I'm not doing it again, though.
I would definitely do it again. But going to this theater that I went to, where I'm used to, I've only been to Cinemark, Regal, and AMC is basically what I've been raised up on, and this is my first time at, I can't even remember the theater's name.
Malco.
Malco, okay. It's just not a name that like comes up to me because I'm still not used to it. On the outside, it was like super retro looking. I was like, is this going to be like a nice indoor theater? I was like, did they even have nice seats? And so when we went inside, there's actually a line. They actually had real people, unlike where we lived in Virginia Beach. When you went to Regal,
post COVID, it's there's no people.
Yeah, so you have to like buy the tickets on your phone, and then once you try to go into a theater, they check your tickets after concessions, which was weird. But I really liked they actually had live people right when you walked in. It made it feel a little bit safer, because that was my concern at other movie theaters, is that there wasn't always, like, even when we went, I would say like 3 years ago, they didn't have anyone checking. We could just walk into it there. You would even have to pay for it. Like, it just seemed like that way. Like, no one even scanned your ticket. And so anyways, going into Malco, we did the self-checkout kiosk, which was really nice. It was super fast. The movie was going to start soon because we just came from Chick-fil-A. And I wanted to go get a drink. I was like, okay, I want to do water, and a bottle of water was $5, and I get the concessions, go to the movie theater, and that's how they make their money, and that's not my issue. But I was just like, I couldn't decide if I wanted a popcorn or not, and I love the kids meals at theaters, and so the kids meal was literally like $8, and a bottle of water was $5, and I was like, well, I can just ask for water with the kids meal, and which I did, and it got it down to what?
It was about $6-7.
Yeah, so it was like $1 more than what we would have paid for a bottle of water, and you got like, I don't know, a fruit snack, a lot of popcorn, and you got like a medium size water. So I felt like that was worth it. I did like that because I know in Regal, when I used to get the kids meal, if I asked for water, they would still charge you for the full drink. Mm-hmm. So that was like a plus for me because I don't really drink soda, and so they take that charge off was really nice, and then I can still have popcorn for the price of a water bottle, so that just makes me super excited. The location we went to, I'm just going to put this out there, for the main women's bathroom, I do not like it. I despise it. I found a different one when we came out of the theater and rather go to that one. I'm just going to say, for a women's perspective, I don't like walking down long hallways where they have an outdoor down that hallway. It just makes me feel uncomfortable. And like the men's bathroom was first, so the women's had to go like more towards the door, and it was on an angle, so it just made me like feel really uncomfortable with all the little zigzags in there, like someone could be like in the corners. I was really like skeptical about that because I did not like that. So like Regal always had like the women's bathroom first, the men were like closer down to that door, and so that was a little bit hard for me. I liked the theater was clean, and the seats definitely need upgrading because I tried to put my seat out and it was like super squeaky.
It needs maintenance.
Yeah, it definitely
needs
does.
Maintenance. It doesn't need a makeover. It just needs like a little maintenance touch up.
Yeah, it was like super squeaky. I'm like, thank goodness we got here early because we usually never do. Because again, I don't like watching trailers and stuff, so we get there usually when the movie like right is starting. So thank goodness we got there early so I could like squeak my chair out all the way. The theater's like really, I think they have more rows than Regal, at least the Regal we went to in Virginia, because
I would say it's roughly the same, maybe.
No, because they had down below, and then they had way up in the back, and then they had the middle, where like our Regal theater only had like the middle up. They didn't have lower. So it felt like we were in row F, and it felt like we were usually like in the back of the theater where we would normally go. And I feel like anything past row F would have been too far away from the screen.
Yeah.
So that was something to consider. I did like the movie theater. I'd probably go to a different location and try out, because some of the other ones look like they had better reviews. But again, this one we had, I think it was called Her Closet here. I don't know. Someone can correct me. I'm not for sure, but you can donate a prom dress or any dresses that you have, whether they're bridesmaids dresses, and people can get their prom dress. Kids in high school can get them for free in the area on a certain day when they go shopping for one. And so we did that at the Chick-fil-A, and so we just picked this theater because it was right there, like literally 10 minutes from Chick-fil-A. So I don't know if I would go to that one again.
Yeah.
It's not bad, but it's not like excellent like what I've been used to.
Well, what you've been used to is, again, like, for those that know, is the Malco Theater has a long history with Memphis, and it for some reason has a monopoly. It just has a monopoly on the local area. I mean, you don't see Regal, you don't see AMC or Cinemark. You don't see those big three around here. So, and if you're hearing a little ruffling over there, that's Milo, our dog. So, he loves his mama. He loves his mama. So, and again, there's nothing wrong with a theater having the whole market. It's the theater trying to push the envelope to make more money instead of being stagnant with what they are, which is why I was suggesting to Aaron Austin weeks ago is that if Malco had a movie theater subscription like the likes, even at minimum like Cinemark, it's not like a subscription like the Regals or your AMC where you're paying X amount of dollars a month for movies, but even to the ilk of Cinemark, it will be like very substantial for the movie going fan, but for folks to keep coming out to theaters and for them to make more money is for them to have a movie theater subscription, because once you're paying $25-ish a month, and then you can add fees for online purchases or your IMAX big screen showings, is that you can get more money from folks coming back to the theaters, buying up concessions, and then that money can go towards upgrade seating, upgrade maintenance. If they had a movie theater subscription based plan for like your movie going fans, I think they could be very successful. Will they do it? I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Another thing I want to add is that the ticket prices on a Saturday is I would say $7 cheaper than what we paid for in Virginia, because it was $8 something a ticket here. And if we went on a Saturday in the area that we were at in Virginia, it was at least I think wasn't around $15.
Well, I mean, that goes towards the particular type of movie you're seeing, is that I know when I'm going to go be seeing Ant-Man Quantumania this weekend with Zach and Cory, I did the math dividing up by 3 to help pay my share of the ticket. It was about $14. So
that's still cheaper than what we would have paid for.
That's still, I mean, that's roughly around the same price actually. It's just you got to think about the movie that you're going to see. If it's a small budget movie, the ticket's going to lean cheaper. If it's a big budget movie, your ticket's going to be probably higher in the 10s or 15s range. But for something like 80 for Brady or a book club 2 out there somewhere, you're going to see your ticket around $750-ish. And especially being on a Saturday afternoon, that definitely does help. And I think for Malco, they have something similar with Regal where a particular night it's half off or something.
It's Tuesday nights. So
Tuesday nights, yeah.
You have to be a part of the rewards program. I can't remember if it's I think it's just towards food, though, when I read it on the billboard today.
For Malco?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they do something similar like Regal where you get a big discount.
You have to sign up for rewards.
Yeah, so they technically do have a reward system. It's just a matter of taking it a step further with a subscription, like a subscriber base of moviegoers, because there's nothing else around here. The only thing that's AMC related is way up past Dyersburg, 2 hours from here, or 3 hours east into your Nashville area, or even in that Jackson area is where you start seeing different movie theater chains.
The other thing I wanted to say is that a little bit of a pro to this theater compared to when we went to Regal or Cinema Cafe or AMC is that I have high sensitive hearing, which most of the time when I go to a movie theater, and another reason why I don't like going is because the sound causes my ears to hurt really bad. I've had a couple concussions that cause heightened sense in hearing, and so I usually have to wear special headphones to cancel out the noise. I can still hear the movie, but it just doesn't cause me pain. And this one I had to use a different headphone because I forgot mine at home, so I had to use one of a pair of Josh. I think they're the JBLs, right?
The JBL ear loops, yeah.
Yeah, but at Malcolm, I was able to get through the trailer like without the headphones at all. When usually like in the other theaters they'd be like so loud I couldn't even get through the trailers without them. And it wasn't just like non-action movies, because they did do the Dungeons and Dragons movie trailer, and I didn't even have to have my headphones on for that, so that was like a plus for me, especially
Even the Mario trailer, yeah.
Yeah, it was not loud, and then it got louder by the time the movie started playing, but it wasn't excruciating loud. Like if I didn't have my headphones at all, I probably would have made it through the movie, but I still needed them. So if you have someone who has like a hearing sensitivity or autism that needs those headphones, I feel like Malcolm is a better theater for that, because it's just not as loud.
And with that, we will close out this podcast, and a little something that Megan wants to talk about, something on her heart. So, honey, what's that thing you want to talk about?
So I just want to talk about of like making sure like you know what you put into your mind. A little bit of a backstory, which we might do a testimony later on of mine in another podcast. But I grew up in religion a lot, of like what you can and cannot do, like what you can and cannot see, according to like God's rules. And then 2 years ago, I met the love of Jesus and got resaved. And so it changed my view on things, because it's not like God saying I can't do it, but I have like a change of heart of what I will allow into my mind and body. And like God always says, like protect your eyes and ear gates. And I feel like a lot as Christians, like, are called to be set apart and not like in the world. So when it comes to movies, like God dealt with me, like I purged a lot of things. Like Josh was there. He saw me like purge a lot of movies, my video games. Like God was just showing things that were not of him that I was doing. Some like video games were an idol for me. So he told me not to do that anymore. So I literally stopped playing Call of Duty, where I played it for like 6 years, right? 5 years.
Like, it seemed like every other day
It was every day.
Yeah, you were on.
After work, it'd be like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And basically, God brought Philippians 4:8 to my mind, just saying to fill your mind with those things that are good and that deserve praise, things that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable. And I feel like it's a special verse in my heart. I don't watch TV that often, rarely. And usually if it is, it's like an older film that's like an older TV show that's completely clean. Sometimes it's HGTV. And we do like, I don't know, some movies here and there. They're mostly Christian films. I haven't really, like in the last 2 years, watched a movie. Most of the times, like if we try to, I turn it off. And I really came down to the point now is that is this movie or is this TV show going to bring me closer to God? Like, is it honoring God? Am I going to get something out of it? It's going to fill my spirit to make it like pure and more holy towards God's heart? Or is it just filling my flesh with something that I'm desiring that's not of him? And so sometimes when it comes down to movies, I like question it. I like pray on it. Like, is this a good movie to see? And I'll read like the Christian reviews on the movie to decide if it's worth of me going and spending my time where I could be spending that time with God, or something that's true and noble that brings peace and that's pure for my heart to protect my mind, because so many doors can be opened through TV shows and movies that we don't even know about.
What?
You gonna add anything?
There's nothing to add. That's your testimony.
So can we edit that? Can we edit that part out?
Sure.
Okay. So I just want to like share that with you, because sometimes people don't even think about it. Like, you're just used to like always going to see a Marvel movie or always seeing a certain series of movies, and we don't even ask, like, what is this feeding us? Like, is it feeding, again, your flesh or something that you desire, whether it's sex, or if you're not physically doing drugs, but you just like the adrenaline rush the movie gives you. It's just like, what is the pure motive of why you're watching that? And I think it's something that no one really looks at anymore. And we need to pay more attention to what's really in that movie, because it can do damaging things. It can bring nightmares. It just all depends. It can bring different desires that after the movie that you want to do something that's not of God. So I just think we really need to be more noticeable of those kind of things.
Yeah. All right. With that, we're going to cut this podcast shorter than usual. But again, hoping to have Megan on back in a future time.
March.
So probably March at this point.
I want to do the snowy snowstorm or snowy in Oakland.
We got that Kelsey Grammer movie coming out too.
We do. So maybe
Jesus Revolution. I believe.
Jesus Revolution. That's gonna be.
So that's gonna be something we'll have you back on to discuss.
And snowy in Oakland, because that trailer.
And then your book club in May.
I don't know. I'm praying on that. I don't know.
As for me, this weekend, as I mentioned earlier, Ant-Man the Wasp, Quantumania, coming out this weekend, February 17th. I will be attending the movie at the Malco Bartlett with my good friend Zach and Cory VanBlaricom, the Varicom brothers. It'll be my first time going to a movie with them. I want to say maybe second time I've been with Cory. We actually saw Spider-Man in 2012, I want to say. If not, I remember Landon was there. Either way, I will be at that theater with them this Saturday. So the next guest you will be hearing and seeing will be Zach VanBlaricom on this podcast, and possibly Cory. We will see if we can get that third wheel in here. But in the meantime, this is any last words you want to say, honey?
No, that's it.
That's it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is Megan Mickle and Joshua Mickle on this podcast. Signing off.